What is all? Oh.
You categorized, or you that's amazing.
No, I got a kit.
You got a kit for
Colors,
your eye.
different sizes, colors. It's great. Get ready, world.
Get ready, world, because the movie you're making me watch today is The Goonies. That's right, The Goonies. What year was The Goonies made?
1985.
85. We're watching because Schwartz has never seen The Goonies because he hates movies he thinks he knows about. What did you think about it, Schwartz? Well, at least in one word.
My word's not a real word, but it's the best way to describe it, and it's called Spielbergian.
Oh, yeah. That's a real word.
Take it. Take it. My word is adventurous.
My word for this movie is nostalgia. Because I don't think, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the movie per se, other than it's the most nostalgic movie I can think of for me when it comes to nostalgia. I watch it, and the more you say that word, the more it doesn't sound like a word. I've seen this movie a billion times. It's up there with the many, with the movies I've seen the most. This is one of them. And it brings back fond memories of being a child. As well as I think it's a fantastic movie. Do you agree, Jake?
I agree. It definitely is high on the nostalgia factor for sure. I grew up watching this movie. I probably haven't seen it in a few years, but it definitely has a lot of memory to me. Actually, watching it this time brought back kind of fond memories because right around the time I actually met you, Anthony, we actually met in Oregon, where this movie's filmed. And I was living there briefly at the time. And right around that same time, my family came to town and we did this Goonies tour. And I know I watched the movie, I think, right after I went on that tour. I may have watched the movie with you, Anthony.
Probably. We
probably.
Doing a lot of watching movies and music making on that trip.
Definitely. But yeah, so it made me nostalgic about that whole trip in a way. So it had that factor, which was nice. So different levels of nostalgia came out of that movie. So it's definitely a feel-good movie. Absolutely. I did feel it was interesting watching it this way from more of an analytical eye, more of a critical standpoint, because I probably found some more flaws that I just probably overlooked when I was younger or didn't care to see in a way. But still great, still wildly entertaining flick.
Anytime you have this type of movie, flaws aren't a thing that matter. It's like saying something bad about Star Wars because it doesn't make sense in any way. This doesn't have to make sense. It's just there to entertain 100%.
Yeah.
But at the same point, there was even some points where I was thinking the same thing about watching it with a critical eye when it came to some dialogue choices. I was like, oh, that was a little silly, which I've always known it was silly, but I was kind of thinking, what is Schwartz going to say about this? And I was thinking there's certain things I'm like, yeah, I mean, if he said this, you couldn't really argue with it. That was kind of fucking dumb. Shit like that. This is the thing.
If I saw this movie back in the day when you guys saw this movie, I probably would feel the same way of, oh my God, no matter what we're going to say, it's still going to be a movie that I'm always going to love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got to a certain age where movies like this and Back to the Future, and there's probably a few others I'm not going to name so you don't make me watch it that I haven't seen, that watching them now, I'm just like, yeah, these aren't good movies. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're saying The Goonies is not a good movie? How is it not a good movie?
The Goonies is an entertaining movie. It's got a hell of a crew behind it. I mean, Steven Spielberg, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, and it's directed by Richard Donner, who's one of the most accomplished directors in the history of the United States. And that's why Steven Spielberg chose him, because he knew he would do a good job with the budget. Because back then, this was a pretty big budget film. There were a lot of set pieces, which to me is the best part of this film, is the production design. It's pretty amazing.
It's ridiculous.
Set in Oregon, baby. Most beautiful place in the world.
But before we get into that, Anthony, what's this movie about? So if people haven't seen it, they know.
If you haven't seen The Goonies,
everyone knows what this shit's about.
Then unsubscribe. I'm kidding. If you subscribe to this, God bless you, and tell your friends.
Brief synopsis.
Brief synopsis. This movie's about a group of kids who go on an adventure. They live in the place called the Goondocks. They go on an adventure following a found treasure map by
Chester Copperpot.
By the famed explorer Chester Copperpot, who was looking for the famed pirate One-Eyed Willie, and said pirate's lost treasure. So they were on a treasure hunt, following a treasure map found in the attic of one of the kids' dads. Along the way, they meet the Fratelli brothers, which I'm pretty sure just means brothers, if you translate Fratelli.
Those guys were my favorite part of the movie, by the way.
Fun.
Oh, my favorite character is the mom.
Yeah.
Just the way she grunts around is hilarious. What'd you say?
She's the woman from Throw Mama from the Train.
That's right. She's Mama, isn't she?
She's Mama, yeah. That movie's directed by Danny DeVito, too.
Fun fact that the jail they broke out of in the beginning of the movie is now home of the Goonies Museum in Astoria, Oregon.
Oh wow! Yeah, what a prison break. So yeah, the the one of the brothers was in prison. The whole movie starts out with him breaking out of prison. So they escape. They kill a bunch of people. The kids intervene, kind of accidentally, but mostly because they're meddling kids. They end up that's right. They're following the map, which leads them to the summer place, and they go into the basement, and they eventually find, followed by the Fratellis the whole time. They are chasing the lost gold of One-Eyed Willie, and eventually they find it, saving the Goondocks, which was up for foreclosure, I think, the very next day.
Yep. They were going to sign it over the next day.
The next day.
That's what else I realized is that Sean Astin not only is Rudy and Samwise Gamgee, but he's also the kid from the Goonies.
Oh,
Come on. Come on.
And now
the
a
actors,
new generation can see him in Stranger.
Really. All these people, a lot of these kids went on to be amazing people. Corey is a Corey.
I got a question. Is the
Josh fucking Brolin?
This is Josh Brolin's first role.
Love that guy.
Is the same kid in this? Is the same kid in this Short Round, or is that a totally different guy?
That's the same kid.
That's the same kid.
The only kid who didn't go on to do something was him.
Yeah.
He did this movie. He did Indiana Jones, and then he moved back to China. I'm pretty sure.
He's probably a super accomplished Chinese actor, and we just aren't aware.
I looked him up on IMDb.
Stuff.
He ain't. He was just in X-Men in 2000.
Okay. That's a big 25-year gap.
I don't think, unless there's a Chinese IMDb, a ChiMDb, I do not. I didn't see anything. But I mean, the actors are great. Yeah, like you said, Samwise Gamgee, dude. He's in Lord of the Rings. All of them.
Dude, not only is he Samwise Gamgee, but he's Rudy, one of the most sought after sports movies of all time. He's fucking Rudy.
It's an inspirational character. Sean Astin's an inspirational guy.
He's super inspirational, and he was
in Mikey's from the Goonies.
Things.
He's in 50 First Dates too. Remember, he's the brother who's he's on steroids.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, he's
got the lisp
shit.
and shit.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
This
Farmer Friends, the dad.
It's got everything. It's got adventure. It's got romance. The cinematography is beautiful. The lighting is beautiful. The underneath the shots overhead following the bike was them biking around.
That goes back to the Spielbergian feel of it. I feel like it's almost what Stranger Things. Someone was just like, all right, let's take all the best things about your film, Steven.
That's what Stranger Things was. Stranger Things was an homage to the 80s.
Yeah,
it was E.T., it was Goonies, it was all those things.
Yeah. But that's what this movie was. This movie was kind of like a Stranger Things type of thing where they were like, all right, Steven, let's just take all your good ideas and put them into something else. You know what I mean?
It's such a good movie.
It's good. It's a good movie. This is the thing.
I didn't realize how long it was. It's almost 2 hours long. I never even realized that. The
movie is a kid's movie. So that's the only problem that I'm having with it watching it now at 33 years old, is it's not going to hit me the same way as it did when I would have been a kid. So the production design, the cinematography, the acting is all on point, but the script is pretty terrible. The script is not
and
good.
that's
like
what
the
I
idea,
said. That's what,
the idea of what they're doing. Like the story is good. Like you say, they're going to the pirates, they're kids, they're trying to save their house, they're trying to do this. That's fine. But the fucking dialogue is just to do. It's just
pretty to do. There's
Right.
definitely some
It's
things that I was like, oh my god, where did
it's
this
a kids
come
movie.
from?
This is the thing. Back in the 80s, if you were a kid, you guys were kids in the 90s watching this, but if you were a kid in the 80s watching this, it was probably even better. You know what I mean? You're probably like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
But yeah, because we're not listening to dialogue. We're just watching the story.
Exactly. And the funny dialogue that you are supposed to hear probably hits you perfectly. You know what I mean? The stuff that we look at now was like, oh, why the fuck would he say that? When we were kids.
Well, like, I mean, the whole beginning, I think was pretty great. When Data comes in, when everyone's being introduced, when Mouth comes in the door, Data comes in and busts the screen door. Chunk comes in and has to do like the Rube Goldberg thing to open the
truffle
gate.
shuffle.
The truffle fucking shuffle.
So I like that,
dude.
But I have two problems with it. Well, not two problems, but two things I love about the scene. The first thing is the whole thing with the gate opening. Why didn't you just reach over and pick up the gate, first of all? And the second thing, the best.
It took like 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes of objects just clicking.
Because it was dope, dude.
The best line
very elaborate
is when they break the statue of Michelangelo.
Yes.
And he goes, "That's my mom's favorite part."
Yeah. He glues it back on. He's like, if God made us like that, we'd all be pissing in our faces.
Yeah, young aggro Josh Brolin wasn't a fan.
What? He was great.
I love Josh Brolin, but this definitely was his worst role.
It was his first debut.
Well, he went up
19 years old, probably.
God bless him. Yeah, you're right. His role in No Country for Old Men, it was a little more refined, I think.
Yeah. He really hit his stride at No Country for Old Men, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, Thanos here, dude. He's fucking Thanos.
Right.
Dude, Josh Brolin didn't make it big until later in his career. It wasn't until like No Country.
Yeah, legitimately, I think No Country is one he truly.
It was like a punch. He did Death Proof, not Death Proof. Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse movie. What was it? Planet Terror, and then he did No Country, and then he did something else to where people were like, "Oh shit!" All right.
He was the doctor in Planet Terror, huh?
Yeah, he was great in it. That was
great.
Yeah, so it was like that, and like you said, No Country, that kind of put him over the edge. And since No Country, he's made like some pretty classic fucking films. He's been a part of some pretty great cinema. But yeah, I mean Thanos alone, he's fucking Thanos. But yeah, Josh Brolin, I'm glad he got older with age because he was pretty bad in this movie.
You're glad he got older with age. Copy you.
I mean, I'm glad he got better with age. My bad. Sorry. He definitely got older with age. I'm glad he got better with age.
Yeah, I think it's funny how harshly you're critiquing someone's very first movie.
What is this? Josh Brolin, all those classics that we're talking about. I didn't see this movie when you saw it, so I saw this later. So it's like, damn, Josh Brolin, you suck in this movie.
What was wrong with him? He just wasn't.
You know what? It was probably the script. He had some pretty dumb
bad lines, dude.
Were you mad? Were you mad when his character stole the bike from the little girl?
No, that was hilarious. She's like, I want my bike. I was actually laughing at her.
Stomping her feet. Why was she out in the street? Where was her parents?
She wasn't in the street. They had a shared driveway that went downhill. There was like two houses that shared a center driveway.
Back then, parents just let their kids do whatever.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
They're just like, go outside. We'll whistle or ring a bell when we have kids. But it's like
that's how it was like when we were kids.
Get out of there.
Yeah,
but
even when we were kids, it was like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was born the year this movie was released.
I was born 2 years later.
Who was your favorite Goonie?
I was thinking about that last night. My response is gonna be Data right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I was a little kid, it was either Chunk because I related to the fat kid, or Mouth because he was hilarious. Like to me, Mouth was hilarious.
Mouth is the best one.
He is hilarious.
Yeah, he was
one of the most refined actors on the crew,
and that was hilarious too. Like the opening scene, they're like, "We gotta make sure everybody knows this guy speaks Spanish. Like, how are we gonna do that?" He's like, "All right, we're gonna bring in this lady who speaks Spanish. Is gonna help out with the house." That was funny. That shit was.
I mean, him explaining it was some of the funny. It was probably one of the funniest parts.
What I found funny too, the fact that this was a kids movie is like, and the fact that it's PG and some of the shit they said was like pretty like, wow, I'm surprised I saw that when
It'd
I was a
probably
little
be
kid.
PG-13. This is
Yeah.
like, wasn't this? This is probably before PG-13 was a thing, wasn't it? Or
This
you know.
was right around the same time. Like I know we talked about this during the Indiana Jones, like Temple of Doom prompted the PG-13, but this was a year after Temple of Doom, so it's hard to
Okay.
say if PG-13 was a
Still a new
maybe it
thing.
wasn't regular. It was probably new at the time. So, but still, like the shit he was saying, like even like the dick on the statue shit, like that wouldn't be a PG film these days.
That was hilarious. That's my mom's favorite part.
And he was telling like the housemaid about like, oh, this is where they keep the coke, this is where they keep the heroin,
Yep.
this is where they keep the sex toys. They keep people tied up in this room, so you better behave.
Yeah,
like,
that was hilarious.
It's like, Dios mío.
Yeah.
I think if this movie was about 20 minutes shorter, I would have liked it more.
It was long. It was very
20
long.
minutes too long.
I don't ever feel this movie like drags though. I don't ever feel like this movie.
Nor do I. That's why I was saying, like, I looked up the runtime just to know it, and I was very surprised that it was going on 2 hours.
I was assuming it was going to be closer to an hour and a half, and I was like, it's like
Same.
1 hour 56 minutes or something.
Yeah,
I was like, oh wow.
I thought the pirate ship scenes and everything in the cave, like when it got to that point, was pretty epic. Like as far as visually, that was pretty fun. That was
They really built that thing. That was a real set, and then they just trashed it afterwards because they couldn't put it anywhere.
Yeah, that was pretty
pirate
fun.
ship. Anybody got a room in their backyard for a pirate ship? Is that in the fucking Goonies Museum in Astoria?
The pirate ship? I don't think so.
No, it's a scrap of wood. It's a pile of wood somewhere.
I'm surprised they used it for Hook, because they made Hook like a couple years later.
They could have.
I don't think they did. I think it says in some of the notes or some of the fun facts that they didn't have anything to do with it afterwards, so they trashed it. You think they would have? I mean, I put this up there with Hook. I put this up there with E.T. I put this up there with any Spielberg 80s, 90s movie. 80s movie.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly had his thumb on it the whole time. Even like the music was just like.
I'm sure it was John.
It sounded like a Spielberg movie. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that edits all the Steven Spielberg movies. Basically, my feeling on this movie is I don't know for sure. I tried to look it up, but I feel like for some reason he wasn't able to direct this movie with a scheduling conflict, so he just gives Richard Donner. My feeling is that he was probably going to direct this at some point.
I mean, it's very Spielbergy.
Yeah. What was Spielberg doing in '85?
The first credit is Spielberg presents a Richard Donner film.
Yeah. But he also wrote the story. Steven Spielberg's only written like his stories on his movies, and only actually completed 2 screenplays ever. But this is one of the ones that he has writer credit on. The only 2 screenplays Spielberg ever wrote were Close Encounters and AI.
Chris Columbus too.
Yeah, well, Chris Columbus wrote this. Yeah, he wrote the screenplay. He went on to direct some of the best '90s movies ever made. All like the Home Alones, fucking Mrs. Doubtfire, the first 2 Harry Potters.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. Like it's almost Christmas, so I'm looking forward to watching Home Alone.
Did he do Ferris Bueller?
That was John Hughes.
But Chris Columbus may have directed it. No, was it John Hughes directed it too?
I'm pretty sure John Hughes wrote Home Alone, right?
Yeah, Chris Columbus directed it.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure Bueller was just purely John Hughes.
John Hughes. That makes sense.
Chris Columbus might have had something to do with it, but I know Hughes directed it.
Chris Columbus like directed a lot of great nostalgic movies. Like Bicentennial was pretty good.
Bicentennial Man?
Yeah, you ever see that with Ron Williams?
Yeah.
He directed that too. Yeah. Spielberg handpicked Columbus to direct the Harry Potter movies too, because Steven Spielberg was originally going to be the director of the Harry Potter movies, and then he was like, nah. So he was like, but you should let this guy do it.
He does good kids movies. Home Alones. I mean, there's parts in the first Harry Potter that I can close my eyes and think it's Home Alone, mostly because of the music, but even some of the shots, these big swooping shots from ceiling to ground of kids running around, and it's just very Chris Columbus-y. Doesn't Chris Columbus write music too?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
Who's your favorite Goonie, Schwartz?
Mouth for sure. He was fucking hilarious. And it's almost like his character was just a smaller version of his character in Lost Boys, which was great because he's just more grown up in Lost Boys. Kind of plays the same guy.
I need to watch Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I've seen Lost Boys. Never mind. I was thinking.
Lost Boys is a fucking epic movie. That's
Lost
one of the best
Boys,
vampire movies
Lost
ever
Boys
made.
is really good.
He
Anthony,
kinda,
have you seen Lost Boys?
I've seen Lost Boys many times, not many times, a few times.
Yeah,
He
it's a
kind
good
of
one.
plays the same character and everything, you know.
What else is
Yeah.
What else is he in? I know him from Lost Boys. Really, that's what I know him
He's a
from.
Corey, dude.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what
he's a
other
Corey.
Corey movies has he been?
I always equate him to fucking Goonies, but I know he's been into much of other stuff.
Lost
Goonies
Boys,
is
I don't think it's a
Goonies,
bunch. I don't think it's a bunch. I
etc.
think it's like probably like 4 or 5 other things.
Etc. Etc. is pretty good, man.
Corey Feldman, known for he was Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Gremlins.
Stand By Me is great.
Name an 80s movie, and he was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stand By Me is a really good one.
Stand By Me
You've
is
seen
a
that one, I assume?
phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
Schwartz,
Yeah. Great
have
movie.
you seen it?
Yeah, I saw that a long time ago.
Maybe. Yeah, that's the one I would watch a few times.
I've seen that a couple times. I made Rick watch Shawshank for the first time. He loved it.
Oh yeah.
Kind of idiot hasn't seen Shawshank.
He hasn't seen anything. I made him watch
What the
Gladiator too.
fuck?
He loved that.
That's a good one.
Gladiator,
Goddamn.
Gladiator is that's the best Ridley Scott movie ever, besides for Alien or Blade Runner. I think my favorite's Gladiator.
Corey Feldman was in The Burbs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Just name 80s movies. You're like, oh yeah, Corey Feldman was in that. Is it like a Monster Squad or something movie? Something weird like that?
You're talking more about
Yes.
Howie Mandel, I think.
Was he in that?
No, that was the Wonder Years dude. Savage. That was the Savage Brothers.
Okay.
No, yeah. Princess Bride. Schwartz had never seen Princess Bride. I made him watch that. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
that was good.
That was a great
fun.
movie.
That's pretty wild.
A lot of people think it's Princess Diaries, but that's neither here nor there.
No, Anne Hathaway. Duh.
I mean, same good movie. I never noticed that Data had a really dope like North Face backpack, which style is coming back right now.
Oh yeah. Data's the
It's
man.
like an all waterproof North Face backpack. I saw it when they were when he finds the money making machine, $50 bill. And yeah, I was like, that's a pretty cool backpack.
That dude played 2 roles, and they're 2 of the best named ever. His name was Short Round and Data.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Very great roles. They're fucking
Yeah.
awesome roles.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I don't like him. That role in Temple of Doom. It didn't even make sense to me. Like, why would fucking Indiana Jones have this like 11-year-old sidekick with him for this dangerous shit? Didn't
He
make any
saved
sense.
him.
But I was glad he was there. I was
You know
glad
why?
he did.
Because
Ultimately
Steven
did.
Spielberg was
Like I
like,
said.
you know what? We need a kid. We need a kid for this movie.
For sure.
They're like, all right.
That's what it called for. It was the third one that you hated the most, wasn't it? It was the third one that he was like, that nobody liked the second one. Let's make another first one.
Yeah, I liked the second one the most.
You know, you kind of got me thinking about that. What you said about the third one, because there is really not a whole lot. But I fucking love that one so much.
Last Crusades essentially like the same thing as The Force Awakens in my mind.
God, but I love Force Awakens.
They're not
All right,
they're not bad. They're not bad, but they're basically the same thing as a different thing that was better.
Yeah, well, see, I think that after seeing Raiders of the Lost Ark a couple times, like I saw it when we watched it. I saw it like a year before me and Shane went to watch it on the rooftop cinema in LA. And obviously I'd seen it probably like another 2 times when I was a kid. I think that's my least favorite one. I think it goes 1, 2, or 3, 2, 1 for me. I think the third one is just a better version of the first one.
Raiders.
Honestly, I'm crisscross with you. I think the third one is better than the first one, and I think the second one's the most interesting one. The second one is definitely the most daring. It's the darkest. I guess Spielberg just wanted to do something a little different. Yeah. But the third one's kind of just like, if you're a fan of Indiana Jones, it doesn't really get much better than that. It's all just like, oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. This is great.
But it would have been cool if, like the second one, the third one would have just been something completely different. And like, and they went with no, it was just back to Nazis.
It was.
The second one was Nazis, wasn't it?
First one was Nazis.
Second one. Yeah. First one and third one were Nazis.
The second one was what?
Second
one was like
Kali Ma, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy underground shit.
The-
It was
the
basically the Temple of
Fugees.
Doom. Yeah, the Temple of Doom was the villain.
That was dope. I liked that one, man.
Yeah,
That was fun.
and that's what got me thinking is maybe it would have been better if James Bond, everyone was a different villain, different adventure, and not.
Right.
He could have
Yeah.
kept going. They would have never done it because Harrison Ford would never want to keep going like that. But they could have done it like James Bond. Ooh, imagine
Right,
that.
true.
They should just reboot it and just keep it going. Let's do that.
You
Let's
know,
write a.
I'm
let's
sure
write a
they. I'm
Indiana
sure they
Jones.
will.
You
I'm
know
sure
who
they're. Aren't they working on that?
For the story woes is your favorite guy up there in southern or northern California with your George Lucas. I'm sure Spielberg was probably like, "Hey man, let's switch it up a little, let's get a little pizzazz." And George Lucas was probably like,
No, George Lucas is probably like, yeah. George Lucas is the one that was more adventurous, not stay safe.
"No way."
What do you mean, no way? He's the most adventurous actor or director ever.
Whatever. I feel like he puts limitations on the Indiana Jones. I mean, he's the guy whose idea it was to do the aliens in the fourth one, and that was a terrible idea.
Who?
It's not a terrible idea.
George
It's
Lucas.
just
That wasn't a terrible idea.
the choice of actor was a terrible idea.
No, it wasn't, because Shia LaBeouf's a great actor. It was the choice of who that character was. Like,
Anyway,
I blame
back
that
to
on
the
Steve
Goonies.
Right. we're
Yeah, well, whatever.
Sidetracking
What's your
Indiana
favorite
Jones
scene
territory.
from the Goonies?
Mine is the opening scene when they're all getting introduced, probably, as far as aesthetically goes. But then when they find the pirate ship, it's just like fucking awesome. Like even now, I was like, oh, that's fucking cool, man. This is dope. Like the whole camera movement, how real it is. Like, just imagine being a kid and you were feeling that in that moment. That was dope. That was cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what this
Well,
movie's
imagine
about.
being a kid and feeling that in that moment. It's
I
widely
it.
reported
I get
that
it.
they that the kids never saw the ship until that scene, so that they could have a real reaction of
I
the
read
kids
that.
on the real
That's
ship.
dope. Yeah.
Jake,
yeah.
what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene. I'm always bad at this because I always just like a lot of different scenes. I mean, the intro was really good, but anything with Dunk and I thought was pretty funny. Like when he got locked up with Sloth, and then I don't know, it's like corny as shit. Like just like the Rocky Road stuff. Like all that stuff's corny, but like I like
that's
their
first thing I wrote
relationship.
down. That's the first thing I wrote down is when he first meets Sloth, and he was like Rocky
Yeah,
Road.
that's
But
a
I
great
looked
one.
at it. That's over an hour into the movie.
I know.
That
It's
blew
kind
my
of
mind.
crazy.
But yeah, when he breaks on his chains to get the Rocky Road, he goes, "Man, mister, you're hungrier than I am." I thought that's fucking hilarious.
That was funny.
When he was like, "Spill the beer," or like, "Tell us everything," he was like, "I'll tell you everything," and then he starts admitting all the shit that he's done to when he's threw the puke over the side at the movie.
Yeah. It's always one of my favorite parts.
Oh, that's so good. He's like, I'm starting to like this kid, and and she goes, that whole thing when he's like, I'm starting to like this kid, and she's like, put it up puree, and she sticks his hand in the blender, and he's like, I want to be a violin player. That whole thing is hilarious. Mikey's speech under the waterfall, classic speech. What'd you think about the speech? It's our time down here. Down here, it's our time.
Yep.
But it's their time up there. Up there, it's their time. Whatever he says.
Those were like another one of those like semi corny moments to me, but like I accept them because they're definitely not. I accept those little moments because like it's a kid's film. Like you got to have those moments of like, here we go.
And also, that was not the worst dialogue in the movie.
No, it wasn't. Definitely wasn't.
Shorts, you didn't like that part?
Yeah, it was fun.
It was the most motivational part of the movie.
It was fun.
He motivated everyone to become Goonies and unite in this quest for One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah, I get it. I got it. I watched it. I saw it. It didn't hit me like it hit you because I'm not 4 or 5 or 6.
4? So I didn't watch this one.
Yeah, I guess 4 is not. No, I guess I'm not 6 or 7. I'm not. Like I said before we started, I gotta stop saying I haven't seen these old kids movies that I haven't seen because they're just not gonna hit me the right way, and it doesn't worth watching it.
It was not worth watching the Goonies, just to say you watched it at least.
But listen, I feel like let me answer that in a way that I think you understand. What are the highlights of this movie? Sloth. I knew who he was. I knew his line before this. The truffle shuffle. I knew what that was. I knew all about that. I knew all about
references from the movie. Those are not the highlights of this movie.
They're the parts of the movie when you were a kid when you seen with the Sloth and awesome, like when you shuffle. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
you saw that the cinematography was beautiful. The set design was beautiful. It was great great acting by great actors.
The acting was good.
So why? So you're saying it still wasn't worth watching?
I would have rather watched a lot of other things.
That's not what I asked. I don't care what you would rather watch. I was asking you if this movie is worth watching for cinema history, for the knowledge of one of the most popular movies of all time.
You watched it? You just want to keep going through life saying, I've never seen the Goonies.
I think you could watch E.T. and Hook, and that would be enough.
That's not the question.
No, I don't think it's worth watching.
Okay, there you go.
Schwartz says, don't watch the Goonies.
We heard it here first.
Under the age of 10, then watch it. Definitely watch it if you're under 10.
If you're listening to this and you're under 10, what's up, dude?
Yeah. you shouldn't be watching. You shouldn't be listening to this probably. If you're under 10.
Subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell their mom to subscribe. Tell them all.
Tell your fucking mother to subscribe to this.
Yeah, tell your mom, but don't
say hi to your mother for me.
10.
If you're 10,
send
me a picture of your mom.
It's fine. That's fine.
Oh man,
I want some of those booby traps. You know what I'm saying?
At MMwM_podcast. Sorry, just go. What were you saying?
Let me ask you this.
Did you know that One-Eyed Willie's real name is William D. Portobello?
Nice. No, I did not.
Now you do.
Did Big Cat like this movie?
First you don't know, now you
100%.
know.
Speaking of the Big Cat, shout out to the Big Cat, but also sort of related. Shout out to Davidson, because he one time told me that the same set designer did Jurassic Park as did this movie, and the only thing I know, costume designer. The only thing I noticed was Chunk and Wayne Knight or Newman in Jurassic Park had the same outfit.
Yep.
I didn't really notice any other characters, but that's funny. And I'm like,
shout out to Davidson for
now that I saw that I just kept seeing Newman every time I saw Sloth, or every time I saw Chunk.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people who worked on both these movies than
100%. Obviously,
it's
Spielberg. Yeah, it's all Spielberg related.
Same editor, same music, same production designer, same content. It's everything.
Oh, and speaking of Spielberg, I was looking at his IMDb. In '85, he released The Color Purple. So I think he saw The Color Purple script, and he saw this script, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go try to win an Oscar real quick."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yo, Richard Donner, you got this." But basically,
Richard Donner, you love kids.
Have you seen the Spielberg doc, the HBO one?
I have, but I don't really remember it super well.
So he talks about like he sought out to make The Color Purple. Like he read the book and he was like, "Yeah, I gotta." No one took Spielberg seriously. They only thought he could make like E.T. or Jose, and he can make drama. So he made The Color Purple, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And then he went on to make Schindler's List, which is
Then he won it. Then he won his Oscar.
He won his Oscar. Yeah.
So it worked. Good job,
Oscar.
Spielberg. You did a good job.
Then he won another one for Saving Ryan's Privates.
Name your top 43 Spielberg movies. Go.
I don't think he's directed 40.
Exactly.
I'll give you his top 25.
No, that's not what I asked.
He's directed a lot more movies.
I mean, you got like a top 3. I'll give you. We can do that. We can do that.
3? Yeah, go ahead. What's your top 3? Go.
I would probably say the number 1 would probably be Catch Me If You Can, then Jurassic Park, and then I don't know, maybe E.T. most likely.
Catch Me If You Can is one of his best films. I agree.
Yeah, and then Jurassic Park, of course.
He's
got so many good ones.
I mean, this is my top 3 at this moment that I'm saying. I don't know if it's my top 3 20 minutes from now because he's got so many. But my top 3 right now are Jaws, Saving Private Ryan, and Minority Report.
Okay.
Ridiculous, dude.
It's a weird list, but all right. What about you, Anthony? What movies do you like more?
War Horse Adventures of Tintin and Empire of the Sun. Done.
Gun is a great movie.
I thought they were gonna be a big BFG guy.
I'm sorry,
your top
BFG,
ones.
The Post, and Ready Player One in that order. No, I'm gonna go. If I had to pick 3, Jurassic Park.
Close Encounters is probably in there, which I didn't mention.
It's hard to get that third one nailed down.
Jurassic Park, Catch Me If You Can, and motherfucking Last Crusade, baby. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, I mean, Temple of Doom is now pretty high for me for Spielberg films, because that was just the best.
Nobody's perfect.
Jaws is one of the best movies ever made. I can't believe none of you guys mentioned that.
Jaws is good.
Jaws is amazing. I agree. It's just not one of my top 3 of the GOATs movies. You know,
probably top 10.
Top 10 for sure. Yeah.
But he's like
top 5
movies,
for
so.
sure. It might be number 4 of top 3, and I might switch them every now and then.
Because I would say like Saving Private Ryan would be another one.
AI is pretty good for me too. I love AI.
Yeah. Listen, it's the Terminal,
Spielberg,
War of the
good
Worlds,
filmmaker,
and Amistad. Those are the top 3.
Dude, The Terminal is actually a pretty great movie.
He's got some shitty movies.
Nah. Well, yes. I'd say the ones you named. I'd say that Minority Report time, because he made like War of the Worlds, Minority Report, and Catch Me If You Can pretty close to each other. I'd say after that, like Munich was probably his last great movie. Munich was Spielberg's last great film. After that, it's pretty
Did we watch that?
I've seen Munich 2 or 3 times. That's a pretty great movie.
What was the one we just watched about? What was the one?
The Olympics, the assassination one. We didn't watch that for. I know you guys talked about watching that, but we didn't watch it for the show.
We didn't watch it for this. You just watched. I told you to watch it, but you didn't like it. It was amazing. You didn't like it.
Oh yeah.
You weren't into Munich. I think
that's his last great film. After that, it's been pretty. But you know what I mean? The dude's 70 fucking years old. Shouldn't be even making. He's just be chilling. The dude's got like 3,000 producer credits. Exaggeration, but over 200.
Hopefully he doesn't wander into Clint Eastwood territory, because that guy makes some shitty movies now.
I did like Munich. I think I did like it. What are you talking about?
It was good.
Maybe I
remember I had you watch it for the cinematography, and you're like, "Oh, cinematography was really that good."
No, there was like one scene that you mentioned that was rad, but the rest of it wasn't anything to write home about.
There's a lot of great scenes in that movie. Did you get
name
to
your
scene
top 40 scenes, dude?
Did you get to the scene when they kill the woman on the boat with the fucking blowguns?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Wait, what?
That was the most intense thing besides Schindler's List that Spielberg's ever shot. Like those were war movies, so they get to be intense. But Munich, so you seen Munich, Jake?
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I know.
So there's a woman in the movie that is like an assassin that takes out her guys, and they found out who she is. So she lives on like a houseboat, and the 3 of them, it's Eric Bana, the dude who plays James Bond now, and Mark Rylance. Okay. And they go and they try to kill her, and they kill her to make it with no sound. So they have these fucking like metal straws, and inside of them, I think are like I don't know what it is. It's some sort of BB or a bullet type of thing, and they literally just go and like blow it, like 3 of them into her chest and kill her. And I was like, holy shit, that was fucking awesome.
Okay, I don't really remember. I have a hard time remembering the movie because it's been I probably saw it like shortly after it came out. Which was
were they blow guns or they were slam fire? Weren't they?
Oh, you're right. They were slam. All right, my bad. I don't know why I thought they were blow guns. They were.
I do remember that.
But they were silent. They were like silent.
Yeah, they probably had some cars.
Some Anton Chigurh shit.
Those they kill people with
everything.
22s and shit, like super low. They're super quiet to begin with, and then they fucking put suppressors on top of that. They're assassins, dude.
They were awesome. That was a great film, man.
I thought it was good. I might have talked shit on it, but I remember thinking it was a very good movie.
Yeah, that's his last great film. But anyway, back to the Goonies. What else do you guys got to say about the Goonies?
Oh, I think that's it. I say watch the fuck out of it.
Oh, we're still doing it. Yeah, I don't any other comments. My notes.
Watch this movie. It's worth the watch for cinematic history, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, we gotta fucking rank it is what we gotta do. We never did that part of the show.
That's gonna be hard.
I figured it out, but it was difficult. But I think I got mine. I'll tell you guys.
Go
right
for
now
it, Jake.
what mine is.
I'm looking on mine.
You guys think about it. I figured it out. Originally, I was maybe gonna put a little lower because I found some flaws, but I think I've justified them, and you guys have made it. At least Anthony has talked me to make it being a better movie. But I'm gonna put it at number 14 out of 39 films. Number 4, not super high, but a good spot. It's gonna
Top
go
20.
right under, top 20. It's gonna go right under Blue Velvet and right above Blood Simple.
Solid.
That's what I'm going.
I don't.
And then they're
disagree
just
with that at all.
and just to update my list, I have moved Nocturnal Animals down. I think it was at like number 17 or something like that. It's now down at 22. 22 is where I knocked down Nocturnal Animals quite a few spots. I knocked it under Indiana Jones. I knocked it under 13 Assassins and Mank, and I put it above Cool Hand Luke. I thought about the movie. It just doesn't have a lot of overall, it's not that great of a movie. I think there's just some really good scenes and some really good acting that maybe kind of affected me. And I think just those effects kind of made me put it a little higher at the time. But overall, it doesn't really stick, and it's not that great of a movie, but it's got good qualities to it for sure. But so I dropped it down though. Either way,
Copy you.
Just these other movies, they're better. They're just better.
I'm with that. Sometimes I look at the list and I just think, why did I do that?
Yeah. So that was one of the movies that was.
I look at Schwartz's list, and that's all I think.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, he's a weird guy.
What do you got there, Schmiz?
What about you? What about you guys?
I'm gonna put it number 25.
25.
Right below Pushing 10.
So it's better than Police Story.
I hate you.
Not as good as
you did that just to hurt my feelings.
I think he did do that just to hurt your feelings.
So I'm going to tell you guys the truth. On my list, number 22 or number 21, which is The Witches, from there down, I can take or leave any of it. Like I recommend any of those movies. That's just.
All right.
If no one ever watched the movies that I rank under 22, I would be fine with it. Above 22, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that's where it's going, 25.
Really? I think the only movies I really genuinely disliked were maybe like the bottom 3.
It's not that I dislike
them. Really just the bottom 2 I genuinely
It's not that I dislike them. There's just a lot of fucking movies out there. So if you're going to spend time to watch one, those wouldn't be ones I take to watch. A lot of movies out there.
Yeah. I'm putting it up at 13.
13, all right.
Right above your ranking at 14, Jake.
Right. Nice.
Putting it right under City of God. Yesterday's choice. Or last week's.
One thing that I thought about while watching
these episodes,
how good of a contrast this was to City of God. Like that was a pretty hardcore movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was almost like a
same kind of movie. Same kind of movie. It's a kids adventure movie. One just has a little more stakes than the other, but they're both running for their lives, and they're both trying to. One's trying to keep where they live. One's trying to escape where they live. So, yeah, it was a little different.
It was nice to watch a movie that was so hardcore and then watch a movie that was so just a good opposite.
You're welcome, dude. I'm happy that you like this movie. It makes me happy. All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of Making Me Watch Movies from Matthew Schwartz, Jake Golden, and Anthony Islami. We thank you for listening to that episode of Goonies, Making Me Watch Movies. It's amazing that Schwartz, in 2021, 30-something-year-old male, hates the Goonies. Blows my mind. Should blow your mind. Check him out at _Schwizzy_ Tell him what you think. I think he's a piece of shit. Next week's movie, an early Peter Jackson film, The Frighteners. You've probably seen it. 1996, The Frighteners on HBO Max. Watch that movie, then listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast. We're there, baby. Check us out after you watch Frighteners. Thank you. We love you. Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.